see that and react in that manner.
I mean, I agree.
You know, the mundane are gonna react in a whole different way. Let's take like storming the Capitol.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a physical act that had a spiritual effect on certain people.
Exactly.
But I tell you what's interesting though, right? The generation that's coming behind us, they have no concern
None.
Yeah.
about any of that.
Any
Well,
of
and I would say because their consciousness level is different. They kind of, the ones now, they coming into play. They understand what they're here for. Now, not saying that they run through the path of that's what I'm going to do, but they're here to think a little different than people storming the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? So when you doing things like that holds some kind of attachment to this thing, which gonna cause suffering, or you to suffer, and stop your growth from ascending to that Christ.
It's like attachment to outcomes.
right.
Right.
For some.
For
some.
some.
And what I mean by that is, okay, I'm gonna be careful here.
Don't be careful. Go ahead.
No. We gotta be careful here with
Political correct.
with this one. Okay, there were some who were involved in storming the Capitol.
Right.
There were some who were at home who would have stormed the Capitol
Come on.
if they were there.
Right.
Then there's a whole nother group who has been talking about doing shit like that for years. But when it came down to it and they saw the outcome, they ain't about shit. They
Cut him off
never. It's a talking point. It gets a rise out of a certain group of people who shake their fists at certain principles. But when it really came down to it, they ain't storming nothing.
Right.
I don't care if they got 1 million motherfuckers in Washington. They not storming anything. They'll ask those million to bring $1. But when it comes to getting what they want and how they want it and demanding it, they weren't going to resort to those type of means to get it.
Right.
So, for me personally, that changed the way I thought physically and spiritually about certain groups, certain situations, what people say they'll do, what people present. You know, because like I said, there's been groups that been, we'll do this and we'll do that, and we got the right to bear arms, and they march around with their rifles, and they shoot some of their own members by mistake. You know what I'm saying? It's all types of shenanigans, as we say, that go on.
Right.
But when it came down to that action, it was a total different group of people who stormed the Capitol that we never thought
Right.
would have actually resulted to those actions. So that taught me something.
Right.
You know, it taught me a lot. I hope I was politically correct in saying that.
That everybody ain't about their business.
Or
you
everybody is about just business. you know what I'm saying?
Oh boy.
I mean, it's each identifier is unique to a particular space of awareness.
Right.
Right.
And I think that spiritually is engineered that way.
Yes.
It just so happens that they play out in these events that are catalysts for suffering for some, liberation for others,
Right.
revolting for others,
Yep.
right? And then, you might have a few that understand, like, this is all just one thing.
Right.
In a grander scene of what's the word I want to use? Of development.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the chat?
Yes, I've seen.
Oh, okay. It's interesting. I didn't mean to throw you off. I was just looking at the chat.
Yeah, I did see it.
It's all good. We love you too. It's all good, you know.
Y'all go.
Get well,
You know,
sis.
it's you know, it's well, we're bringing it back to your ascension.
Oh,
your
yeah.
ascension to a certain thing. You have to let things go.
Definitely.
As you talked about storming the cat. Some stuff you just gotta let go, bro.
Right.
You've been thinking about this since you've been probably about 10 years old. Storming the Capitol.
I mean, I personally never thought about that.
You know, some of these people have.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you just gotta, let stuff go
look at his face.
because you too attached to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, once you become attached to certain things that really mean something to you, you really take interest in.
Suffering.
Here come suffering is right at the back door and you're creating it.
Well, if it's you know, it kind of, you start seeing people keep saying the same stuff over and over again, and they may not be aware of it, but it's something that's going on that's as you said, they haven't let go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it kind of, if that's not checked, it could become a whole nother beast.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but like we've been saying, it's a part of that journey. It's a state of consciousness,
Right.
And it really shows. It says a lot. And I'm not even trying to get into whether it was orchestrated, whether if it was whatever. The end result is this is what happened, and it was some people that put that into play for whatever reason, and it's like,
Right.
Right. It was orchestrated
Right.
by higher beings, higher consciousness.
Right.
Oh, you know
But,
what? We did
you
talk
know,
about like the influence of those
We
beings,
get in there.
shadow beings on
Right.
other beings,
thought forms.
Got it, we talked about that.
I got
Right.
it.
That's my point.
They
I
got
know,
to feed off that energy.
I know it's perplexing you a little bit over there, brother.
Just
It's development.
I get it.
Yeah, that's what it
It develops someone. It's for somebody.
It's for somebody.
And if it does, it's kind of like if somebody's saying something like, "Hey, who drank who left the swallow water in the fridge?" and you know you didn't do it. Why would you even speak on it? It's not your concern. So it only concerns the one who's related to leaving that last swallow of water. So maybe they might have something to go on about it or whatever the case may be. But so I get it. It's for somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I mean that's been the detailed narrative of the discussion.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This path of the Christ being, these different reflections that you see in everything through different relationships. Go ahead, don't lose a thought.
It's a thought of, it becomes it not from a braggadocious or a perception of higher or lower than anybody else, but it actually puts you in a state of power. You become a little bit more empowered of controlling your destiny once you start on that path and you expand to a certain level, because you start you becoming aware of the things that you could control,
Right.
and an awareness of the things you can't control. So it's kind of like the thing I always say is I care, but I'm not concerned.
Right.
Now that might offend someone,
Oh, it
or they
will.
may vie for me getting in that state of mind. But it's really, the reality is like, unless I'm willing to go do something about it or make a change or implement some type of act, because that would be what the situation moves me to do.
Right.
And then it may move me to say, dang, they did that.
Yeah.
Okay, what can I do about it? I could talk about it.
Right.
I could pray about it. I could go on about my day. I could do all of that and go about my day.
Exactly.
You become empowered to say, like, listen, I see this, I hear this. Give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. They got laws. people that's in place to punish, so litigate, whatever the case may be, it's gonna do what it's gonna do while I'm gonna be doing what I'm doing over here.
Right.
So
I didn't have them. I explain certain things to somebody. They look at me and tell me, "Oh, you just don't care," and I say, "I don't," and walk on. Because I'm not gonna suffer because you got something going on. I'm not
Right.
about to do that.
Right.
I'm just telling you what it is. I'm trying to help you conquer your suffering.
Right.
No, I don't care.
Right.
I'm just listening to you.
Right. But there's
Help trying to get you to understand certain
Right.
things, but if you're gonna tell me I don't care, and I just tell you, no, I don't care.
right.
I
But
think. Oh, go ahead,
easy.
Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
There's for me personally, there's always ripples.
Come on.
Every situation casts
Just talked about it.
cast ripples.
Right.
So this situation that I'm speaking of, as I watched it unfold, I didn't care. I was kind of amused. But what I like to do is, what do I personally get
Right.
out of this situation? Why is this happening and I'm seeing it? What is the message for me? And what I said earlier was, the message for me was, the groups that keep hollering that they're about this type behavior ain't.
Right.
So
Come on.
that's where I need not be wasting my time
Exactly.
if that's not where I'm going with the situation. 'Cause like I said, it's a lot of wolf tickets being sold out here, and it's a lot of all young brothers joining these organizations because they think people is bout it.
Right.
And then when you see what group actually made a move, I'm like, well, damn. I never would have expected that to be the group to make that type of move. Why? Because they ain't been hollering that they'll make that type of move. They just did.
They just did it.
That's what I got from the situation. Now, the situation itself, come on, man. Y'all know me. We could get deep, like we said, like he said. Was it orchestrated? Was it, something that the whole thing could be a facade? I'm not even gonna go that deep in. It was more of, why am I seeing this? What do I learn from this?
And if I can probably give one example, the death of one thing is the birth of something else.
Right,
Right. So
right,
in another space of awareness, I think that when we see these events and categorize them as such, we probably should extract from it the meaning and the mission of death in an earthly evolution.
yes,
So to unpack these different items, right? You got to be in tune. You got to be tuned in another frequency,
yes,
which I would venture to say that it probably shouldn't be solely rooted in materialism. Otherwise, you're destined to repeat that again.
right,
Go ahead.
It's kind of like, to throw the paradigm of thinking. It's like you're born into death and you die into life.
Yeah.
It's just a different perception.
Right.
You know what I mean? The minute you're born, it's like a timer,
Right.
or as we call it, born. So
If that's what they want to call it.
if that's what they want to call it, well, that's yeah.
Me, I've never been born, and I will never taste death.
Look at him.
I am infinite and eternal. I shine forth as the sunbeam to the sun. I'm the exact love of the Father, and I stand before you to love you. That's it.
Brother, you're the
I would
devil
take
the
it.
Bible talks about.
You're right. And you know what I would say? You're right, my brother. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So, I mean,
Oh,